So, what do men actually want in a woman? What do they look for in a wife?
That's a good question. Let's find out.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a healthy marriage as a Muslim. I'm Zahra Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married for 3.5 years. If you like our videos, please comment and subscribe. Ask your questions below or on our website, and you may feature in one of our future videos with your permission. And please remember, everything we talk about can be found on our website, zahrahassancoaching.com.
And as a thank you, get your free copy of my compatibility guide available in the links below. Also, if you are a young woman who's sick and tired of the dating apps and is wondering if they work at all, my free dating app webinar, which is a 1-hour training for how to use them so that they actually work. You can find a link to that in the description below as well.
Below.
So that brings us to this week's episode entitled, What Do Men Look For in a Wife? All right, so once again, as the representative of all men.
Hi.
What do you look for in a wife? I mean, what did you look for in a wife?
Wifely attributes.
Is that the end of the episode?
It's a whole slew of wifely attributes.
What would be some of these wifely attributes?
Compassion, love, the ability to cook. Because I don't know how to cook.
Uh-huh.
Right? And if you didn't know how to cook, we probably would have been dead a long time ago.
I think it's adorable that you think I know how to cook, but go ahead.
Or malnourished.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, just the patience of being a wife, not having to deal with a wife that would get angry and fight back.
How did you select for that? Like, were you able to recognize those attributes during your talking stages?
I would purposely be annoying sometimes.
That was on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
To see if there is any pushback.
Like in the first week, in the first month after marriage, like
the first message.
The first message?
The first message. I mean, the first message ended up with me going, "Bring ha."
Yeah.
And it was like, why?
So you were fishing with your messages to see who would how people would respond or how women would respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm the type of guy that will make puns and jokes and whatnot.
Do you think that what you are saying that men are that you were looking for, is that applicable to all men? Like,
Oh, definitely not. No.
What are men looking for?
Some men have no sense of humor, so they're not going to look for a person that's patient with their humor.
Okay.
Right? They'll probably look for a person that's patient with their behavior style or whatever it is. Like, if they love watching sports or whatever, right? They're probably going to want someone who is okay with that, you know?
Oh, I see.
Who's okay with just leaving them for like an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours.
Yeah.
For them to finish watching like the football game or whatever. Specifically speaking, I think men do have this innate desire for a man cave, a getaway, a retreat, where they can decompress and spend a couple hours just doing what they want to do, right? Before they get back to their husbandly duties.
Yeah.
I don't know if women have a man cave.
No, there's no time. There just isn't time. Our man cave. I remember, who was it? Louis C.K. Who has a lot of other issues, but there was one joke that he made that stuck with me, where he said, I'm not a parent, right? But this can apply in multiple different ways. He said, as parents, somebody asked him once about his last vacation. He says, we don't do vacations as a parent. We have moments. And he described, that moment after you've put the children in the car seat, you buckle up the car seat, and you now get to take a walk from their door all the way to your door. That's his vacation for you. That's his moment where he can just breathe and gather himself, and before he has to get back to it all. So as women, like, I know for myself, if I speak for myself, alhamdulillah, we don't have children, but there's still a lot of things that have to go into making the household run, into doing all of the things to keep, the show going on the road. There are moments, when you put the different various pots on the stove and they're all in that simmering stage and you have a good 5 minutes before anything starts burning. Now I can go back and check what was going on my phone, or if I had a book handy, read the book. Those moments. Yeah. So there's moments throughout the day. Honestly, saying this out loud, I probably need to do a lot better, more time management. But I feel like a lot of women would probably be able to relate to that. So I don't really have a man cave. It's more of a pockets of moments in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a big tangent from the subject. So you're saying that so men in general are looking for people who are compatible with their lifestyle.
Yeah.
All right, so that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to say a lot of things as a non-man, right?
Yeah.
As a woman, alhamdulillah, based on what it is that I've seen from men over the years. And then you just tell me if I'm completely off the mark.
Okay.
Right. That's good. Okay. So first things first, when I get presented with this question a lot throughout the coaching career by sisters who are asking, well, what is it that the men are looking for in a woman? What are they looking for in a wife? And my answer to that, usually in a gentle way, I explain why that's a wrong question to be asking. Because when you are asking that question, what
you're asking, how do I change myself?
Exactly. Right? And whatever way in which that you change yourself to fit this type of person for a lifetime is not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be genuine, and it's not going to be painless.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no point in doing that. So I really like the fact that you were talking about how you were looking for somebody to be compatible with your life.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, I always encourage sisters to do the same thing for themselves, where you should be looking for somebody who's compatible with your life, with your values, with your logistics, with your all of the things that we go through in the compatibility guide. Somebody who's compatible with you. And even though it doesn't feel like it, the reality is that there are plenty of people who are compatible with you. It's just a matter of coming across them faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, that question is the wrong question.
I have an analogy for that.
Oh, let's do it.
But I'm still cooking it up. I don't know if it's a good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Changing yourself,
yes,
to better suit your potential partner or attract a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Is like wearing makeup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to keep that makeup on,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to keep that fake personality, you're going to not ever be able to take a shower lest you lose the makeup. And that'll end up with you feeling dirty and dirty over time.
Mm-hmm.
It might take an effect on your mental health or your physical health.
This is true. So
because you're not allowing yourself to clean.
Okay, all right. So I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I agree with the dirty part of it, right? But I do
to come clean.
All right.
Huh? See that? You're not allowing yourself to come clean.
There you go. Of being honest.
Yeah.
All right. Then I do like it. That is a very good analogy.
Easy.
Yeah. For a second, I was worried you were coming in for my terrible makeup skills, and I said, "Oh no."
No, I like your makeup.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. Did I just out my own self?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you. But I like that analogy. It's a very good analogy because the most important part about it is that it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's stressful. It adds more pressure to you and to the relationship, a brand new relationship that you're starting. Yeah. So, for example, one of the things that
others can tell as well.
Of course, they'll know, right? And even if they don't know, they'll eventually figure it out. Yeah. So
because you stink.
Okay, let's give an example. Sometimes women will, in our research of what is it that men want, right? They'll come across a lot of data or a lot of articles or a lot of sources that are saying something like, men like a girl who is easygoing, who lets things go.
Submissive,
right? Let's go with the submissive. One who is very easily bends to your will without really voicing too much of her opinion.
Submissive.
Yeah.
There
Okay,
seems to be a
hopefully.
trend here.
Yes. So let's say that. Okay. And let's say that this young woman is like me, who's more type A personality, who has a specific way of getting things done the way that she thinks is the right way. And she instead of finding somebody who's compatible with that, she meets someone who and puts on this air, right? Puts on,
Submissive.
yes, she puts on this air that, hey, I'm very easygoing, even though within her it's building an amount of tension. Whenever she sees, like, okay, he wants to do things this way, I know it's not the right way, it's definitely the wrong way, let me pretend that it's okay. So
Yeah.
let's say, for instance, that you go out with the mahram, right? The three of you go out to meet to a new restaurant or someplace, and this gentleman is driving, and he is driving in the wrong direction, or he's driving somewhere where there's more traffic, or where she knows there's a lot of construction. But in her mind, she's doing all of the math of, if I say something, he's going to think that I'm not easygoing, that I'm overbearing, that I'm demanding, all of these negative perceived traits that she has. So she stays quiet, right? So she stays quiet, or she says, or she changes the subject. But how long can you keep that up?
I think in the situation you gave,
Yeah,
until they get into a head-on collision.
that's how long you keep it up.
Yeah, because they're driving in the wrong direction, right?
No, I don't mean literally in the wrong direction on the
Oh,
street.
okay.
I mean, like, the restaurant is east and they're going
Yeah,
west.
I was over here wondering, like, how does he not know?
You would be surprised, my dear.
How's he not aware?
You would be surprised. But so there, like, that's just a small example, but it is an example. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's important to, be polite when you meet somebody, but to also try to be genuine and authentic and honor who you are as a person, and just focus on seeing whether or not who you are is compatible with who they are.
Yeah.
Because that gives you a much better chance of finding somebody who you are genuinely compatible with and can build a happy, healthy home with. Pretenders, right? Pretenders, it those tend to not work out. Pretending doesn't work out very well.
No.
Okay, so that's the way that I usually answer that question for the client. But for the sake of the podcast, right? Because another place where that question is coming from is just a complete bafflement of how is this foreign species of men, what are they thinking about? How are they even thinking, right? Just like the question is coming from a place of wanting to understand what's going on with you people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a little bit of my insight, and again, just tell me if you're wrong.
Okay.
So in my experience, men are a lot less intentional with their criteria of finding a spouse, right? So as women, many of us tend to go in with a list. That's pretty important to us with respect to understanding whether or not this person will or will not be compatible with our life and our lifestyle. Men do that a lot less. Instead, a lot of what they are basing on who to talk to and who to start a talking stage with is first and foremost attraction, physical attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Is she like, is this person, am I attracted to her? Do I like the way that she looks, right?
Yeah.
And that would form a really big piece of that pie of compatibility for them, especially in the very beginning. Secondly, they are looking for connection. Like, do I connect with you? Can I talk with you? Is it boring talking to you? Is it interesting talking to you? Like, do we like that human connection? What is it like interacting with you? That forms another big part of that pie. And then the final piece of the pie is the most basics and logistics. The most basic logistics, like, are you the right age, right? If they're Muslim and they're looking for someone Muslim, are you also a Muslim? And do you live in my area? Like, the most basic list of logistics.
Yeah.
So those are the three things. I would say 70% of their criteria is simply just, am I physically attracted to you?
I think a good portion of why that is
Yeah.
because men just assume
Yeah.
that women can handle the wifely duties, right?
Yeah.
Typically that involves cooking and cleaning, and that's something that pretty much anyone can learn to do, right?
YouTube.
Not even just YouTube, but like just on your own experimentation, right? So there's not really too much of a high bar of professional knowledge that's required in order to be a housewife, right? It's different if your wife is planning on working. That's probably when other criterion come in. But the men themselves, the Muslim men, they're not allowed to ask their wives to work. Right? The assumption for Muslim men is their wives have the right to choose to stay home and to be a housewife, right? And so because of that, the men aren't really necessarily thinking of, oh, how much does she have in her account, or like this and this and that. And even if they're thinking of marrying a rich woman, they can't use any of the money, right? They can't ask her for any of the money. She has to be the one that willingly provides without prompt. So many different factors go into men not being able to marry women financially for their financial status or for their professional status, or so they're not even going to worry about this woman's career. Right? So they're going to worry about, how can I find a person who's compatible with me in a sense of wifely duties, right?
I understand what you're saying, but what I say is that, first of all, I think I just want to put it out there, right? Because I think you and I are creating this narrative, that we have a very traditional marriage where I basically just do all the cooking. I barely cook for the record. So the responsibilities are a lot more shared than would make it sound like. We'll just put that out to the side, right?
Sure.
But with respect to what you were suggesting in terms of the compatibility, what I was referring to is beyond just can she cook, can she clean, which is very true. Again, that's with respect to role expectations, right? Even within role expectations, I feel like the men are not very the men that I've come across, right?
Not very conscientious.
They're not very intentional about finding somebody whose role expectations match up with theirs, right? And there are other things, like there even things like do you want children, right? That's a question that may or may not come up. Again, that may or not be something that is intentionally asked. Like during the talking stage, it's really women who are driving the conversation forward of trying to get through that list of compatibility criteria to see whether or not are we going to be compatible in terms of these basic things, right?
Oh, easy answer for that reason why.
Why?
Women do better in school.
Well, yeah, also, but because we're just because of the way that our households are run, the households in which we grow up, we're much better at project management, right? And that it's not so much that we're better, it's just that we are more conscious of having to do project management, and we approach our talking stages in the same way as in order for me to find a spouse, let me make sure that this person lines up with me in all of these different criteria. There are 7 big ones, right, that I go through in the compatibility guide. Let me make sure that we line up in these criteria. But with respect to men, they are aware, and I'm just this is a complete generalization, right? Most of the people are going to be falling into the exception rather than the rule. But based on what I've seen, they're not really worried about all of that. They're worried about something like 70%, am I physically attracted to her? We'll say 20 to 25%, do we vibe? Like, is there a connection? Like, do I look forward to talking to her? Do I enjoy spending time with her? And then 5%, hold on, are we the same? Like, does her age match up with mine in terms of what I'm looking for? Does she live in the same area as me? Like, just basic, compatibility
I think
criteria.
age is a higher factor for men as well.
Yeah, for sure, right? But what I'm saying is like those basic logistics, the logistics of the situation. Like, are you already married? Are you Muslim? Like, this is the most basic of the logistic criteria, and it doesn't really go too far beyond there. it's mostly a big focus on physical attraction and connection.
Sorry,
right?
did you say one of the logistics? Did you say are you already
Yeah,
married
that's
or
what I'm
have you
saying.
already been married?
Even that
There's a
is,
huge difference.
I understand. But I'm saying, are you already married? As such a really big, like that's really all they're concerned of. And if you say no, I'm
Oh, are
not
you
married
saying
right
okay?
now.
Like, are you single? Is what you're asking?
Yeah, are you single, right?
Okay.
And if the person says yes, I'm single, there may or may not even be that follow up question of have you been married before? Like that's the question that women would tend to think of, right?
Yeah.
Because they're again very interested in to see whether or not this person is compatible in these places.
Yeah, conscientious.
Yes, exactly. So that, and as I think that's just reflects the way that we are built. We're just built differently, right? A lot of the a lot of women come into the equation with the, again, I don't like making such big generalizations, but what I'm trying to point out is that as human beings, we tend to think that people think the same way that we do, right?
Yeah.
And as women, we spend a lot of our time talking to other women, and we make the mistake that thinking that, okay, we think this way, I can talk to this way to my friends, and I know that they think this similarly that I do, right? That they will notice when I'm upset, and therefore we'll have a conversation about it. They communicate on the same level that I do. They're interested in the same things that I am. And then we sometimes apply that understanding to, okay, men are also human beings and therefore must think the same way. I think that
or even other women.
Well, yeah, but
who
to
are
a
not
much
your
less
friends,
so.
you know?
But much less so, right?
Yeah.
Much less so. I think there are some generalizations which probably there's validity to. And one of the generalizations is that men and women think differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they prioritize is going to be different. And there's a lot of data to back this
absolutely.
up. So there is so much research that has been done on this subject of what do men prioritize in relationships versus what do women prioritize in relationships. And overall, if you just, the TLDR version is that women prioritize safety and security in relationships, and men will prioritize visually,
value.
Yeah, visually what they see and things like connection.
Value.
Yeah, value. So,
yeah.
So that a woman's value is tied to how she looks.
Everyone has a value. Everyone has a value. Men, women, they all have values.
So what determines a woman's value?
A strong man is more valuable than a weak man to women.
In general?
They can defend them, you know?
I don't know.
A man who has money is more valuable than a man who doesn't have money because he can protect the kids.
I think it's always a slippery slope when we start attaching value to exogenous factors, right?
Exogenous.
Or factors especially that people don't have too much control over.
For the audience, can you define exogenous?
Outside themselves. External.
Exo.
All right.
Genus.
All right. But it comes from the outside, right?
Out same.
All right.
Out kind.
We good?
The out kind factors.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Sorry, I just had to break it down for the audience.
That's not going to make sense to anyone except for me.
The out kind factors.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I really don't like this term of assigning value to human beings, right? Especially when it comes to finding a spouse.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole dialogue about high value man versus high value woman. I think all of it is not, like, in my opinion, is nonsense.
Realistically speaking,
yeah,
I think it's possible to find a $1 million man. Right?
Okay.
You would just have to specifically look for him and ask him, "Are you a millionaire?" Okay. And he would say, "I am actually, yes, a millionaire." Who are you, and how'd you get into my house? Right?
Yes.
Once you get past that intrusion, then you have found a $1 million man.
In his house.
Realistically speaking.
Yeah. First convince him not to call the police.
It's not going to go anywhere.
No.
You're not going to be able to get married to him. You're probably going to spend a couple days in jail.
Yeah, ask him, what's your ad? What's your Instagram?
He's like, "Well, I'm here. I'm home, if you want to get in contact with me again, don't."
Yes, please don't. But does it make sense? right?
Yeah, I
That
get what you're
this
saying.
that the idea of attaching value to people, especially within the marriage
I'd
market
forgotten about the whole high value man, high value woman
discourse,
discourse that was going around a couple years ago.
is still going around.
Still,
Yeah,
they haven't
and
dropped it.
no, they haven't, and it's always very sad because. So, okay, so there's also, I'm just going to address this very briefly,
Yeah.
right? Simply because I'm a relationship coach, right? And this is what I do. So there are other coaches in the social media sphere, in the lexicon that people know and that are very famous. Those of us who I would say know what we're doing, right? And are able to recognize personality traits in people, what people tend to say, are able to pick out who is genuinely capable of helping their clients and who is absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right. And the ones who are capable of helping their clients has very little to do with their social media following, has very little to do with, just how famous that they are.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say that there's probably a negative correlation there, that the people that you want to be working with are generally not the ones who are very, very famous and who are very, very loud.
Yeah.
Because in order to gain that level of notoriety,
You got to be provocative.
Yeah,
you got to make the people think.
You have to say things, and you have to, I don't want to call it a game, but you have to play the game in such a way to get to that level very fairly quickly. So just as like as a note from the inside, right, for the listener, if you have decided that you want to go pursue a counselor or therapist, or if you decide that you want to get help from a coach, when my family members ask me this question, I would shy away from placing value on a person's notoriety. In fact, if somebody is very, very famous and has a large following, that person will most likely not be able to help you, right? Because if you want to get a large following, you have to present yourself a certain way and say certain things that are inconsistent with the values you need to have within yourself in order to actually be interested in helping people.
Yeah.
Right? And so don't go for the famous coaches. That's what I would say. And whenever you see another famous coach who something comes out about them in the social media world, some new tidbit of information or some way in which that they are exposed, don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be surprised. And I'm telling you that the people who are actual coaches, we're never surprised. It's just honestly a matter of time.
There are some people who have made their first $1 million selling courses on how to become a millionaire.
Yeah, definitely. Like you just have to.
Ironic.
Yeah. So scamming is real. It's a real thing that happens. I don't know why let's just address this quickly. But scamming is a real thing that happens in every facet of society, right? Especially as the economy is what it is, and all of us become more desperate in trying to keep our lifestyles and families afloat and looking for different ways of making money. Of course, scamming is going to be a thing. And you're always going to have to use your better judgment to decide whether or not this person that you're dealing with is somebody who can actually help you in the ways that you need help. So I think we're going to address that in a whole episode of what makes a good coach, right? How to choose a good, I'm not saying just for me, but I'm saying especially if you're a man, and because I don't coach men, right? But when you're out there and you're in the market and you're looking for a coach, how to choose a good coach. That's probably a whole episode that we should do, inshallah, on a different day. But with respect to what it is that men are looking for in women, just as a quick summary, number one, that's not the right question to be asking, right? Because even if you know what this specific man is looking for in a wife, if you don't have that characteristic and you pretend to have that characteristic, it's not going to be sustainable or lead to a healthy relationship, right?
Yeah.
Number two, in order just to have a general idea of how men tend to approach talking stages, and choosing and selecting spouses, just generally, without talking about specific things, they tend to focus more on how you look, right? So therefore, if a man is talking to you, has swiped right on you, and is in that talking stage with you, it's because he finds you physically attractive.
Yeah.
So that part's already settled. So he tends to focus on how you look, and number two, on the connection, right? It's about 25% of the equation. And the last 5 or 10% is on basic logistics, right? So when he's talking to you, he's already established I'm physically attracted to her. He's already established that, okay, we're similar, same age, like your basic labels match up with his criteria.
Yeah.
And all that he's assessing is whether or not the two of you are connecting,
Yeah.
right? That tends to be what I've seen. I could be wrong, but that tends to be what I've seen.
No, I think you're right. Specifically because the men are usually the ones that are trying to impress.
Yeah,
right?
That's what they're focused on.
And if they're trying to impress, that means that they want you.
Exactly, right? So that tends to be what they're focused on. What they're focused on is, hey, I like this woman. I vibe with her. We have a good connection. So all of their energy is actually more in terms of how do I land this plane?
Yeah.
Right? So if you are in a talking stage with a man and he's consistently in that phase of trying to connect with you, trying to impress you, trying to make you laugh, trying to tell you about the things that he's proud of, all of those things, then that's a good situation. That's one who is interested, who is as committed as you to the process, and all that's left is to assess whether you are actually compatible, and that's it. And as a segue, actually, it works out. If you would like some guidance on how to assess that compatibility, there is a copy of my compatibility guide, which is for free, in the description below. So that brings us to the end of this episode. Did we miss anything?
No.
We're
You know, all these episodes, and I'm only just now realizing that compatibility guide is CG.
CG?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all you need to is to introduce some intellect.
CGI?
Yeah.
Interesting. The irony. So you're saying there is no intellect there?
No, there's definitely intellect.
So it's already CGI.
The intellect is inside.
Okay. You know what? No more. We need to be careful of having these conversations because the only ones who will understand what's happening is just you and I.
Well, intellect inside is basically just intel inside.
All right, so that feels like it was worth it.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of this episode. If you have made it this far, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr. As always, we appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. We don't take it for granted. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a lot, In Shaa Allah. Those of you who have subscribed, again, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And the compatibility guide is there for you in the description. The link to the free dating app webinar is there for you in the description. We wish you all a wonderful week, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.